Happy Friday, everybody, and hello to Hackensack Meridian Health. It is great to connect with all of you on our first virtual town hall for 2021. Can't believe that it's almost 3 months into 2021. Talk about a year that's gone quick. It's just amazing. We have a great lineup for today's town hall meeting. We'll cover the 1-year anniversary of the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll talk about our vaccination efforts, Women's History Month, and our strategy to reimagine HMH. I'm excited to lead a discussion with some of our very own team members about our initiative to reimagine Hackensack Meridian. It's so important that we hear directly from the front lines. Later in the town hall, I'll have a conversation with Mark Sparta, the president of Hackensack University Medical Center. Mark will share some of his reflections on this past year's events from a leadership perspective. It's hard to believe that it was just a year ago this month that we treated New Jersey's first COVID patient at Hackensack University Medical Center. Dealing with this global pandemic really tested us as individuals and as an organization. Think about it. In the first 6 weeks of this pandemic, over 2,000 patients flooded our hospitals. It was just grueling. Yet your commitment and connection to purpose continues to amaze me. I'm so honored to work with all of you. There's no question this pandemic has changed all of us, and it's changed our organization. But we are Jersey strong. We've talked a lot about resilience this last year, but I want everyone to know we must also take care of ourselves. I encourage everyone to take advantage of the resources available at HMH to support your own healing. I'm really optimistic that we will emerge stronger than ever before, and I'm proud of where we're headed as an organization. This month is filled with several milestones. Beyond remembering the start of the pandemic, we are celebrating Women's History Month and all the amazing women leaders and team members throughout our network. We're welcoming spring with open arms. I don't know about all of you, but I have never been happier to see sunny days and warmer weather. To me, spring is a season of growth and of hope. It reminds me of our vaccination efforts and our desire to see the end of this pandemic. I'm proud to report that as of today, we have administered more than 309,000 vaccines and vaccinated nearly 22,000 Hackensack Meridian team members. That's quite amazing. And there's no stopping there. We will continue vaccinating our team members and the community. Someone who has been leading our vaccination efforts is Regina Foley. Regina will be joining us in a few moments for our Reimagining HMH discussion. Regina is really a shining example of the amazing women leaders we have here at Hackensack Meridian Health. She's a nurse who came up through the ranks and earned a PhD. She's deeply committed to her teams and the success of our organization, Hackensack Meridian. Throughout the month, I've been enjoying reading the features in one about several of our women leaders and our team members. Thank you to all of our amazing female leaders and team members for everything you do to make us successful. Now I'd like to turn to the next topic of today's virtual town hall meeting. Everyone should be familiar with our mission to transform healthcare and to be the leaders of positive change. I'm confident we are living our mission, which is the key to our success. In order to transform healthcare, we must continuously reimagine ourselves, which is why I'm excited to introduce Reimagining HMH. Our communities have more choices than ever. They seek greater access to care and more affordable options. They crave convenience. And while technology is offering us advances in care delivery and in treatment, people still want that human touch. So my message to all of you today is simple. Help us build on our extraordinary success. I've never been more proud of our team. Together, we have created a network that is a national leader. So how do we continue to transform our organization in these very challenging times? We have to change the way we work just as much as we change the structure of our organization. We do this by working together and taking new paths. we will continue to build a stronger network to thrive for future generations. So, I invite all of you to join me in reimagining HMH. Let's now take a look at a video that tells the story of this very important strategy.
At Hackensack Meridian Health, we are united by our purpose to care for our patients, our communities, and each other. On the front lines of a pandemic that is reshaping the world, we continue to show up, Jersey strong, resilient, and committed to uncompromising excellence. Our team members exemplify care delivered with courage, creativity, compassion, collaboration, and connectedness. With grit and grace, we make tough decisions in real time, move and pivot quickly, and support one another and those who depend on us. Because of this, our reputation for providing the highest quality patient care and our leadership position in the market are unrivaled. But now, significant shifts in the healthcare landscape demand continuous innovation. We know innovation is not a destination, but an inspiring journey of becoming who we want to be as leaders of positive change. These shifts, starting with the impacts to the most vulnerable in our communities, are transforming the way our world experiences health and wellness. Patients today are offered an abundance of choices, but are overwhelmed by disconnected provider experiences. They seek greater access to care, but are hindered by rising costs. They desire seamless, convenient care enhanced by technology, while seeking the warmth of a more human, more personalized experience. That is why we must accelerate the transformation of our network, leveraging our breadth and depth across the region and our greatest strength, our team members, to meet patients where they are and provide the very best care. The time is now to become who we aspire to be. We are transforming ourselves in order to transform Hackensack Meridian Health. As individuals, we are embracing and enabling more patient-focused care through better access and technology. We are learning to be better collaborators in order to form the kind of partnerships that spur breakthrough research and change lives. And we are tapping into the agility we relied on to maneuver through this pandemic to speed the changes that will ultimately improve the patient experience and quality outcomes. We will do this by embracing the power of positivity and the possibility of our people. Despite pandemic fatigue, we are digging deep to keep getting better for our patients and one another. Let's lean into the passionate pursuit of our purpose. Together, we're reimagining Hackensack Meridian Health.
What a great video. I got to give a little shout out to AJ Sherman from Hackensack Meridian, who puts together these videos. He does just an amazing job, and that video really says it perfectly. Now, I'm wearing this mask because we have our joined by this panel to help us further understand this approach about reimagining HMH, and I'm joined by three incredible HMH team members. We have Dr. Sulin Bokri, who's the medical director of ambulatory quality, and you know, Sulin, you do just an amazing job. I get to hear Sulin report at our clinically integrated network board meetings, and I can tell everybody here that's watching this today that she is just so passionate about quality and about improving quality. And the great news is we're making some amazing practice. But I thank you for joining us today and for sharing your views from the front lines of being a primary care physician. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
We also have Regina Foley, who's the Senior Vice President for Care Integration and Transformation and Vaccine Coordinator. Regina is a registered nurse and was also the Chief Hospital Executive at Bayshore and at Southern Ocean Medical Centers. And I want to just say that Regina, you know, and you know, I just can't give you enough credit for how you've led Hackensack Meridian's efforts on the vaccine front. I mean, whether it's vaccinating our team members or being out there running New Jersey's largest mega center for vaccinations, and really getting New Jersey's residents vaccinated, really making history, and could not be more proud of the work that you're doing. So welcome, and congratulations on everything that you've been able to accomplish.
Thanks, Bob. It's been a privilege.
It's great. We also have Richie Clerget, who works in the emergency department at Hackensack University Medical Center. Richie's a clerical associate. Richie, welcome aboard. And I do want to say that I was really, really moved when I read an article that was written about Richie recently in the Bergen Record. And I was kidding Richie before we started that he was telling me he's getting a lot of calls and a lot of inquiries since this article was written. I told him he's going to need an agent very soon.
That's right.
I can do that for you.
Hey,
But I do want to share something because this was very, very special in terms of what Richie does and how he represents Hackensack Meridian so well. The story that was in the Bergen Record, I don't have the whole article in front of me right now, but basically there was a woman who came into the emergency department at Hackensack, Mrs. Alamo, and she had lost her husband during the first part of COVID. I think it was back in April of 2020. And but she had to be hospitalized herself. She came into the emergency department. It was a busy night, as it usually is at the Hackensack Emergency Department, and it was a little overwhelming for her. And she had never really been to too many things without her husband, let alone a busy emergency department. And she was really very much frightened, and she was having even a hard time breathing because she was just so nervous. And she met Richie. He had come over and introduced himself. And then as they were having a conversation, she got a cell phone call, so they never completed their conversation. So Richie took the time to, while she was on the phone, to write her a note. And the article was about how she cherished this note and how it's really turned her life around. So I do want to read. I think it's really important that everybody understands, because this is just so beautiful. The note that Richie wrote to Mrs. Alamo that evening that she was in the emergency department. Heaven can be found in the most unlikely places. Sometimes I believe we can find that in love. All endings are also beginnings. It's hard to notice during our hard times. Don't spend time thinking you are alone, because your husband's love surrounds you every day. A life does end, but love doesn't. You reminded me that the world is full of different stories, but the human spirit and all lives at some time converge. Thank you for sharing your story to a stranger. I'll remember how powerful love is. I hope you have a speedy recovery, Richie. Richie, thank you for doing that. That was unbelievably beautiful. And I understand Richie does this, with other patients too, on a kind of a routine basis. It's amazing, and it just shows the power of Hackensack Meridian and the folks that are on the front lines really representing us so well. So let me get into to some questions for our distinguished panel today. So I'm going to start with you, Dr. Beaucree. COVID-19 has changed the way we interact with patients with many visits now virtual. So how has that impacted you directly?
Directly. So thank you for that, Bob. So COVID definitely has changed the way that we view medicine, and it's really launched us into a new era. When I think of the time during the pandemic, I mean, we're still going through it, but three things come to mind. First is we had to be so agile, right, in this atrocity, and we had to be agile in pivoting all the physicians to this new platform. You mentioned telehealth. And not only that, like a lot of us who hadn't practiced in the hospital had to go in and to do that. And to all of you out there who have done that, thank you. The other piece of it is embracing technological advancement is something that we definitely have to embrace. The second bit of it is a big focus on access. It really sparked a lot of thought about something that has been an issue not just for patients in New Jersey, but really it's a national problem with patient access. And we do have to think outside of the box and really envision how we're going to not only provide the usual, consultative type visits, but how to do like whole health for these patients where we're meeting their needs where they are, when they need it, and at a time that's convenient for them. And then the third part of it got me thinking about this methodology, if you may, of creative design thinking. And design thinking is thinking of not just of yourself, but the world as products. And in so doing, you're always thinking, how can you make yourself better? In doing that, it helps us to be better leaders. And there's some other things around design thinking that are truly innovative. So how we present to other people in a way that they can understand and that they want to receive information. Also with how we prototype ideas, not just products. And so just to summarize that all, the impact on me has been just reflective and thinking through how to really meet the needs of the patients in a very highly reliable way. And I use what we call the 6 dimensions of healthcare quality, which is, providing care that is safe and timely, effective, efficacious, equitable, and of course, patient-centered. So that is how it's transformed me. That's how it's affected me, Bob. It's really a lot going on here and how we can really be better at patient care.
That's great. And, a couple things struck me. You mentioned access, you mentioned agility. I think those are going to be cornerstones to our Reimagining HMH initiative. So those are, I think, 2 words that everybody should keep in mind. Do you think telehealth is here to stay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. As I mentioned, people want things where they are at a time that's convenient for them, and they want it now. And so oftentimes when people come into the office, that's great, and that has a beautiful place. I can't tell you how many times I touch a patient, and the next thing I know, I'm diagnosed with a cancer. So that isn't. It should never go away, and that has its place, but. Telehealth is another way of reaching people. It's another way of creating better access. And we do have to think more around how else do people want to get care?
Right.
Not just, maybe it's with meds, maybe it's with how they get their physical therapy or, their other parts of their healthcare.
Sometimes it takes a crisis for us to really advance technology, and this is a great example. So I agree with you. I think it's here to stay, and I'm happy for that. I think, like you said, wherever we can expand access to the people that we serve, we should be really embracing it. So
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. So let me turn to Regina next. Regina, you're obviously playing a huge role in leading our network today. And I just wondered, from your perspective, why do you think it's important for us to keep transforming?
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, it's vital to our success. You mentioned in our mission about being a healthcare leader, and we are certainly in the state of New Jersey. So, from our team members and our community, the expectation is that we stay in the clinical forefront of what's happening. We're guiding and providing direction for what is happening, certainly in the state, if not nationally. So that only happens when you continue to evolve and stay current and have edge to how we roll, essentially, every day. So I look at it as that the transformation, just as innovation's in our DNA, transformation's in our DNA. We've got to continue to transform, therefore we're leading what is happening here, certainly in New Jersey, if not the country.
Yeah, I always think about that. I think whether it's a healthcare organization or any organization out there, those that have been most successful, those that have sustained, are those that can continually transform and be innovative, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
Makes a big difference. Thank you. So let me turn to Richie, and Richie, Reimagining Hackensack Meridian, is about the small things and the large things that we do every day, to transform the patient experience. The article in the Record really, and as I said before, really inspired me in terms of, and I wouldn't call that a small thing you did. I would call that a big thing. It might, some people might say, well, only big innovations like technology changes are big, but that's a huge thing. So how do you feel that about how your actions are transforming the patient experience?
Well, I feel that I understand that the business model is about self-service and selflessness. So once you understand that, you can tackle that head on. My mission is not only to change the patient experience, but the human experience, right? So there's always going to be an abundant amount of money out there, but the service that you give is what's really key in your selflessness, right? So the other day I was in ambulance triage and 2 paramedics came by and they said, this is what happens when you do a good deed. And I just caught on to that. I was like, wow, like that's incredible that I heard that. But to them, I want to say, yes, I want every patient out there to come to Hackensack University Medical Center because we're doing something right. We're getting something right, and we're showing people that, hey, we care about you, and we're here for you, and we're understanding that human beings are operating on 2 frequencies, which is love and hate. Hate, which is, if you break it down, which is fear, anxiety, depression, and love, joy, happiness, etc. You can understand that, let me just flip the script and put myself in their shoes and understand this, that selflessness is key.
That's great. And I think, one of my takeaways from what you just said was, it's about the human experience and not the patient experience, because I think we have to think about that each and every day. I mean, patients are human beings. And, if we, traditionally, I think healthcare just thought about patients as patients, meaning their medical record and what's in their chart. But they are human beings. They have feelings, like you said. There's love, there's hate, there's a lot of different emotions going on. So I love that that notion, and maybe we can get that out there as a theme that we're in the human business here. We're talking about human beings. We're not talking about just patients. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. I think this was a really good discussion. I'm going to ask each of you maybe just to maybe make a couple comments about transformation going forward in terms of if there's any advice or any last thoughts that you would have that you would like to share with your colleagues about transformation. Again, it doesn't have to be big. It could be very, very small. But let's just do a quick go around here. We'll start maybe here on this side with Regina.
Yep. So my thought is what we need to be able to, mobilize among our 36,000 strong, right, is our team, including team members and medical staff. They're the idea generators, right? It's boots on the ground. Those are the front line. And so I would ask as we move to Reimagining HMH, it's your ideas and opinions are welcomed and appreciated. Quite honestly, we need them. We need them to continue to stay strong and to focus on things that are truly meaningful, where we want to make an impact. So I would just ask the team members to be involved and contribute to the planning and the idea generation that is stimulated from the site, because I think that's where we'll get the most traction.
I think innovation is everybody's job.
Absolutely.
It's not the next person's. It's everybody's.
Absolutely.
That's
Yep.
great. Dr. Bokri?
Yeah. So I like this idea of being employers and the mindset of people in an organization individually to be employers rather than employees. And once you start framing that here, it becomes so impactful, because everything that you touch, everything that you do, you're part of it. You're part of that. You want to make it better. And as to Regina's point, it's whatever you're thinking in terms of design, ideations, whatever the action is going to be, the way you communicate, and the execution. So really, it's so important for us to be maybe changing maybe some of that mindset to being employers. And with that said, you really are empowered to therefore go out and just do the best that you possibly can in every way you can.
I like that. I like that
Yeah.
change of mindset.
Yeah.
The employers, yeah, that's great. Thank you. Richie?
Well, the advice that I have is there's a story that an Afghanistan old man told me, and he said there's a friend that went to another friend's house, and he knocked on the door, and he answered, well, the friend on the other side of the door said, "Who is it?" And the other friend on the other side of the door said, "It is I. It's me, your friend." And he said, "I don't know who that is. Get out of here." So the friend goes on this journey for about a year or two, comes back and knocks on the door again. And he says, "Who is it?" He says, "It is you at the door." So that to me is a phenomenal story. So once you, disclaimer here, it's still stranger danger. I'm not telling anybody to open the door. I'm not telling anybody to open the door for someone on the other side saying it is you. You know, it's kind of weird. But in a sense, what that story means is that you have to look at patients as you. It is you on the other side of that door. We're not that far different from each other. And just, as I said before, we're getting it right. So I want every patient at Hackensack University Medical Center coming, because that means we're doing something right. So that's the advice that I give, is the unison and that we're all one.
Look at patients as you. I
Yes.
like that. That's a great story. I'm serious. You do need an agent. That's great. That's great. Well, I want to thank the three of you really for your insights, for joining me today, and for sharing your thoughts with your colleagues out there. So I thank you all, and have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it feels great to look ahead, as you just heard. I think the whole Reimagine effort is going to be amazing for us as we look ahead to see what is possible. But I'd be remiss if we didn't take a few moments to reflect on what this month represents. At the beginning of our meeting, I touched on our shared experience this past year. When I reflect on this year, there are countless acts of kindness, courage, and compassion that come to mind. I think of our doctors and our nurses holding up iPads so families could say goodbye to loved ones, and crying with family members. I think of the nurse traveling up to Hackensack University Medical Center from the Jersey Shore to help with the surge of patients day after day. I remember calling families of our fallen team members and literally crying with them. As a leader, you often need to carry out difficult tasks, but making those phone calls was the hardest thing I have ever done. We'll never forget those who made the ultimate sacrifice. And in all of this, we really came together as a family. We have so much to be proud of. We were there for our communities when they needed it most. This is where the resolve and commitment of our team really stands out. We treated more patients than any other network in the state of New Jersey. And we continue to deliver high-quality, compassionate care every single day. We also adapted to the crisis with a swift, robust, and coordinated response. You know, I always think there are only two jobs in healthcare in a crisis. Frontline, those folks that are on the front line, have one job, and the rest of us who support those people on the front line. Our clinical teams worked miracles. Our supply teams sourced the globe for PPE. The crisis also sealed our reputation as a hub of innovation and discovery. We just spoke about that a little bit. We delivered the first commercial test in New Jersey, which reduced wait times from days, maybe even weeks, to hours. We were delivering convalescent plasma therapy and other life-saving treatments. We supported vaccine production. We participated in vaccine trials, and we are now operating the mega site at the Meadowlands, the largest in the entire state. We learned so much, we improved so much, and we embraced the future with new knowledge and experience to continue to transform healthcare. When all this began last March, we didn't have a playbook or an idea of what was to come. What we had was the absolute best team, a strong network, solid shared beliefs, and great leaders to unite us. With that, I'd like to welcome one of our great leaders, Mark Sparta, the president of Hackensack University Medical Center, to share a brief reflection on his perspective as we mark 1 year. Mark, welcome.
Bob, thank you. Thanks
Good to
for
see
having
you.
me.
Good to see
you
you.
too.
Thanks for coming in on a Friday.
You bet.
So, Mark, Hackensack has really been the epicenter of the COVID pandemic from the beginning. You know, HUMC saw the first COVID-19 patient. Sadly, we also witnessed the first COVID-19 patient to fall to the virus. In fact, Hackensack has had more COVID patients than any other hospital in the state of New Jersey. So this past year has really been filled with emotion, moments, and experiences like anything that we've seen before. So as you reflect on this past year, what's the top of mind? What are some of the moments or experiences that you will carry with you going forward?
So, Bob, I first want to thank you for having me here.
Sure.
You know, having the opportunity to reflect on the past year is actually very therapeutic. This pandemic has changed all of us. None of us will ever be the same again. However, for us to heal, I think we need to talk about our experiences and share them with each other. And I think that in some way that honors the memory of all those that have been lost from the pandemic. So there's so many images that are burned into my mind. And honestly, they really run the spectrum of emotions, from deep sadness and despair to feelings of incredible pride and inspiration and triumph. And those will really stay with me and many of us forever. You know, when I think about those images, I just can't get past the compassion that was exhibited by our morgue technician who, against all odds, with bodies that were stacked in refrigerated trailers, honoring those lives by putting daffodils on each of the bodies.
That was an amazing, really an amazing act, and we had her at one of the virtual town hall meetings, and I got so emotional hearing that story.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's folks like that who have these random acts of humanity. Folks like Richie, you know, across Hackensack Meridian, I talk to my colleagues, and there's countless experiences of those happening. And I think, honestly, that's what makes Hackensack Meridian different. Our frontline team members, they get it, they understand why we're here, and they really take the 5 C's to heart. But, you know, other things that I think about, I remember on the evening of Wednesday, March 4th, when the testing came back from the state. And late in the evening, we were all on the phone because we knew we were first and we knew what that meant.
I remember after I got the phone call, I think it might have been from you, and I had this pit in my stomach after that. It was unbelievable because everything we were hearing in Italy and China and other places now was here.
It was here.
Yeah.
And I don't think that evening we could have ever predicted what we were going to experience. But, you know, for all the challenges we had and all the devastation, I have to tell you, the strength and the resilience of our team, I'm in such deep gratitude to them because they inspired me to come in every day. You know, we rounded on those patient care units every day, sometimes twice a day. And to see folks that, you know, we've been working with for 20 and 30 years, unfortunately, some of them were in those beds. Mm-hmm. And it was a very, very emotional experience. But then we had the creativity of Hackensack Meridian Health, and you know, the team at Hackensack gathered, and we knew we were going to be reaching our capacity very soon. And we said, what else can we do? And you know, the night that we were on a Thursday night in late March, we were in the cafeteria laying painter's tape on the floor so that we could figure out how many beds we could fit in there. And then 6 or 7 days later, we had a full patient care unit with medical gases and monitoring. I mean, teams just don't do that. Hackensack Meridian teams do that. And then the happiness, the sense of triumph and success when we were able to discharge one of our own, our 1,000th patient. And then, the clap-outs, how inspiring were they? All of my colleagues across the network had those experiences with local fire departments and EMS and police departments, doing the drive-throughs with the lights and sirens. Those things gave us all the strength to go on and continue and to come back every day. And I think what really capped it off was the first day that we administered the vaccines in December. That gave us that sense of hope and the fact that we had something now to battle this virus, and we were going to win. And the overall resilience and grit of the frontline team members who were against so many challenges. You walk up on those patient care units, and it looks like a MASH unit with tubing and extension cords and everybody in full PPE. They came back every day, and without regard for their families and the fact that they were caring for very, very sick patients with a communicable disease that we didn't know a whole lot about. Just amazing.
Right. You mentioned, and I liked how you put it, acts of triumph. Really, I think that's a really good way to put it, because there were so many acts of triumph. And you talked about the vaccines and how that was kind of a turning point. So how would you characterize your team now today? Are they obviously they've been at this for over a year. I know there's been exhaustion. I know there's been a lot of pain. How are they doing now?
They're healing. I think we're all still healing, but they're so hopeful. And again, the focus has shifted from a response to a recovery and a transformation focus. And everyone looks forward to the warm weather coming, the vaccines really taking effect with hopefully herd immunity not far away from us, and the fact that we'll get back to some sense of normal, because they love the work that they do. We all have challenges on a daily basis, but by and large, they love the work that they do. And I think that we're all so fortunate to be able to have been involved in this experience. And I really think that it makes us all stronger.
I agree, and it's good to hear that they're doing better. And certainly we got a lot of resources to help support them at HMH. Mark, I want to thank you for your leadership. I have one more question. A true test of leadership is really how you lead during a crisis. So can you share from a leadership perspective some lessons learned that you experienced?
Absolutely. I think we all, before this, talked about how important it was to have a team and to work as a team. But honestly, we could not have made it through this past 12 months if we had not worked as a team. And it really, really pushed us and showed us the strength of a team. And, I learned that leadership is not really about having all the answers. It's about really having the courage and the willingness to rely on your team's experience and expertise and trust your own gut and make decisions.
Yeah, that's great. I think it really is about the team, and that's a great lesson learned. The other thing I heard, I think it was just yesterday on another Zoom meeting, was the crisis kind of taught us that sometimes you just have to act. In healthcare, we want to get all the data before we make decisions. We want to get this and that, and and evaluate the pros and cons. And sometimes it's just good to act. And if you have to kind of tweak it a little bit as you go along, you tweak it. But I think it's a good lesson learned, right? And I know your life for the past year was all about acting quickly.
It was either that or get run over.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Mark, thank you again for joining me today. Thank you for your leadership, and it's been quite a year. But really, your team up at Hackensack, along with your colleagues around the network, really have done just an amazing job. It was good to reflect. I think it's healthy for all of us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bob.
So it's interesting how it all comes together. Our shared experience, our look toward the future. When you really think about it, it's all about living our mission to transform healthcare and to be the leaders of positive change. Amid the pandemic, we reimagined how we were providing care and came up with fast innovations, like turning the cafeteria, as Mark just said, into a COVID unit for COVID-19 patients, and finding ways to connect patients and family members when they couldn't physically be there. Looking ahead, we will continue to transform healthcare, reimagining care, how we work together, and how we support our patients, tapping into our personal why and individual strengths, working together as one great network and one strong family. And that's a great segue. As we wrap up today's virtual town hall meeting, we should all embrace reimagining Hackensack Meridian Health to make us even stronger in the future to serve our communities the best we can. And we should always remember what we went through together as one team this past year. In many ways, it was our finest hour. I'd like to end by congratulating each and every one of you. Congratulating you because Hackensack Meridian Health was once again certified as a great place to work, which is really amazing, and that's a great honor for the entire team. Why does it mean so much? Because it's all of you that make us a great place to work. I want to thank you for everything that you do each and every day. I look forward to seeing many of you as I round throughout the network. Until next time, have a great weekend, everybody.